The Little Mouse Who Never Gave Up. The story of Milo the musician. Once upon a time, in a quiet meadow near a bustling village, lived a small mouse named Milo. Unlike other mice, who spent their days scurrying for food or hiding from owls, Milo had a dream. He loved music. Every evening, when the sun dipped below the horizon and the world fell silent, Milo would sneak away from his burrow and scurry to the edge of the meadow. There, through the tall grass, he could see the village where humans lived. The village was alive with music. Beautiful melodies floated through the air, played by human musicians with their shiny instruments, violins, flutes, guitars, and more. Milo's tiny heart swelled with joy each time he heard the sweet sounds. He would close his eyes, imagining himself playing along with them. One day, he whispered to himself, "I will make music just like them." But there was one problem. Milo wasn't very good at making music. He found a hollow reed one day and tried to play it like a flute. The sound that came out was high-pitched and squeaky. When he tried to hum along with the melodies he had heard, his voice was wobbly and off-key. The other mice heard him and laughed. "Why waste time on something you can't do, Milo?" they snickered. "You're just a mouse. Mice don't play music." Their words hurt, but Milo didn't let them stop him. Deep inside, he felt a spark that refused to go out. "I don't care if they laugh," he thought. "Music makes me happy, and I know I can get better if I try." Day after day, Milo practiced. He used twigs, acorns, and even blades of grass to create different sounds. He listened to the wind rustling through the leaves, the chirping of crickets, and the songs of birds. He tried to mimic these sounds, blending them together into his own melodies. His paws sometimes trembled, and his notes often wavered, but he never gave up. Every evening, while the other mice scurried around the meadow, Milo stayed behind, playing his little reed flute. Even when the other mice teased him, calling him Squeaky Milo, he focused on the joy his melodies brought him. One evening, as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Milo decided it was time to share his music with the others. He gathered all the mice in a clearing under a large oak tree. The air was cool, and the moon cast a soft, silvery glow on the meadow. "I have something to show you," Milo said, his voice steady with determination. The other mice snickered, expecting to hear another squeaky, off-key mess. Milo took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He brought the reed flute to his lips and began to play. The first note was soft, like the whisper of the wind. The next note was stronger, like the gentle rustle of leaves. The music grew, filling the clearing with a melody that was simple yet heartfelt. Each note carried the dreams and effort of a little mouse who refused to give up. The other mice fell silent. Their eyes widened with surprise. They had never heard anything like it. Milo's music was far from perfect, but it was raw and real, filled with passion and perseverance. When he finished, there was a moment of quiet. Then, the mice erupted in applause. "That was amazing, Milo," they cried. "Will you play for us every night?" Milo's heart swelled with joy. "Of course," he said, beaming. From that night on, every evening, the meadow filled with Milo's music. The laughter and teasing had turned into admiration and respect. The other mice gathered eagerly, waiting for Milo to play. Some even tried to make their own music, inspired by his determination. Word of Milo's talent spread beyond the meadow. Soon, the humans in the village noticed the enchanting music drifting through the night air. Curious, they followed the sound to the edge of the meadow. There, hidden in the shadows, they watched in awe as the little mouse played his reed flute. The musicians who had once inspired Milo smiled and whispered to each other.
"He has talent," they said.
Natural, raw talent. They began leaving small gifts near the meadow, tiny instruments, pieces of polished wood, and scraps of sheet music. Milo, overjoyed, used these to improve his playing. Sometimes, the musicians would sit quietly and listen to him play. They offered friendly advice, teaching him new notes and techniques. "Try this," they would say, or "Here's how you can make your melody smoother." Milo listened and learned, his music growing richer and more beautiful. And so, the little mouse who once faced ridicule became a beloved musician, not only to the mice but to the humans as well. His story spread through the village, inspiring everyone, big or small, to follow their dreams. Milo had proven that when you follow your heart and refuse to give up, even the smallest voice can create the most beautiful song.